Hey everyone, Leo with Dreaming Tree, and welcome to the assembly video for our bowling greeting card. You have two options with this. Obviously, you can modify it and change it up for whatever you want, but you'll notice that in your extras folder, you have two options for captions that we've included. We have a happy birthday, so that you can give this to a bowler in your life, or you can make these up as invitations. And we've included a you're invited. I'm going to use the happy birthday one, and we're going to begin by, well, we're just going to put together some pieces here and there just to get things ready. And I just realized that I forgot to ink one little thing. I did a lot of inking on this project just because we have a little bit of a mix. Inside is, well, I guess all bowling lanes are mostly traditional. I know that they've come out with some new ones that, well, you know what? Maybe it's just when they turn the lights off and they have the cosmic bowl, which I like. The kids like it, but I can't really bowl as well because I can't see anything. So we've included some colors in this that are kind of reminiscent of the cosmic bowl, but the inside, obviously, well, as far as the bowling lane, it's mostly traditional because I guess most of your bowling lanes are either going to be old school, like real wood, or I know that now a lot of bowling alleys are using like a faux sort of wood for the surface. But either way, we went with a very traditional, old school, like real wooden lane. But anything will really work as long as you find some good wooden paper. Anyway, okay, so let's start off with our little band here, okay? And like I said, I'm gonna go with the happy birthday. The you're invited caption works the same exact way. There's 3 layers, and you'll notice that this little funky layer here, that's for the little cutouts of the O, R, and the D. Okay, so you're just going to glue that down like that. You're going to take this and glue it down onto that, and you will have your caption. I'm going to do the happy birthday, so I'll show you how that one works. It's the same process. Just try to make sure you don't get any glue spilling out into these little cutout areas. It's pretty delicate. And these little parts on the Y, the A, and the H, throw a little glue on them, but dab it with your finger to thin it out so it doesn't come shooting out onto your pretty blue or whatever color paper you decide to put it on. Okay, so I'm going to put it on like that. Pardon me, glue nozzle. There we go. And you can see there, none of that glue shot out because I hit it with my finger to thin it out. And then we'll take this whole piece, apply glue to the back of it. This one's a little easier. Just have to try to avoid those little holes there. And that's going to go on like that. Just line that up as accurately as you can. Okay, then this part. Now, again, you can just take one of these rectangular pieces, like this back one, and you could do whatever you want with it. You could just write on it, stamp on it. You can have your machine draw on it or write on it if you have like a single line font. Okay, so we're gonna put that on this little banner right in the center. You want the little flag parts to be up towards the top. Nice even border around. Make sure you keep it straight. And then we'll take these little guys and get them glued down right here. Try to maintain an even border there as well to create that nice little banner look. And is that straight? Looks a little off. There we go. We'll get the other one glued down. just like that. I've got some really gluey fingers from, this is my 5th project of the day. Okay, and then this is the little band that keeps it closed. And this is just going to go on like this. We're just going to match that up with the existing little shadow area there. Go ahead and get your glue on there. And line that up. Pardon my head if it's in the way. It might be. It's a big head. It tends to get obstructive sometimes. Okay, there we go. And then you'll notice there's a tab here, and then there's a fold here. We're just going to take and apply some glue to this tab and close it up. And you can just push that down flat, and this band will hold the card together nicely and also obviously add our little caption. And there we go. Okay, so that's done. Now let's take a look at the front of the card. We're not going to put this on the card base just yet. Okay, now you'll notice that you have 2 pieces that are similar, but one of them is a little bit smaller. Okay, the bigger one's going to go on the front. This one's going to go on the back. We'll put that away for now. And what we're going to do here on the bottom, you'll notice that we have 2 little markers, and there's a T. You want to make sure the T is right side up, and the corners of this are going to match up with those little markers. That's to help you with the placement of this piece. So let's get this in place. And we're not going to put this on the card base just yet either, because these are going to be used to cover up the tabs that are part of the pop-up mechanism. I guess I probably should have introduced this as the bowling pop-up card, not the greeting card, because it is a pop-up. It's a relatively simple pop-up, but it's really cool. Okay, so go ahead and make sure you get that lined up with the bottom, those little markers there, very carefully. And then of course, never hurts to just give it a little visual appraisal. Don't always trust those little markers. They are accurate, but they only take you so far. You still got to make sure everything is nice and straight. And that looks good to me. Okay, we'll press that down. All right, next, we're going to grab this star shape, and you'll notice there's a little cutout for a star here and here. This is the top, okay? So just make sure you keep that up on top. Let's go ahead and apply our glue to this first star. Maybe throw a little dot there. And just kind of match it up with the little shadow elements. Make sure it lines up on all of them. And actually, I think there's, yeah, right here too. You can kind of see the overall shape of it. That looks good. Okay. And we have a secondary star that's going to go inside here. And we're just going to eyeball this, make sure it's centered. And you'll notice there's also a T on here. Make sure the T is right side up. Okay. Get our glue on that. And like I said, just get that nice and centered. Just going to eyeball that. Make sure that I have a nice even border. Just keep that point of the top one straight with that one, and the rest of it will just kind of fall into place for you. Okay, next, let's grab the main focal point for the front. We've got our red layer of the pins. Let's start here with the ball. Go to one of these pins and just very quickly cover these with a little bit of glue. If you happen to get a little too much, just kind of dab it with your finger, thin it out. You don't want it leaking through onto this beautiful red layer. I have paint and glue and all kinds of weird stuff on me today from all these projects. Okay, line that up as accurately as you can. All 3 of these. There we go. Beautiful. Flip that over. I always don't want to blemish any white with my gooey fingers. Okay, all right, let's put the ball together here. Now you'll notice that we have this little cutout here, and there's a little marker for this cutout. It's going to go right onto where that marker is. This is actually going to be flush along this edge, and just a little bit of that dark blue is going to be showing through, and just make sure you match it up with the little marker here for this little reflection. Okay. There we go. And just do your best to match that up. Just like that. You'll have a little bit of that light blue or dark blue showing around the finger holes. And then this little white piece is going to go right in there like a little puzzle. Just throw a couple tiny little dots of glue on there, dab that with your finger to thin it out, and pop it right into its little home. Slide in there perfectly. Okay, and then we'll take this whole thing, apply glue. Whoa, getting crazy on me here. And that's going to go right on top of this. This is just for the finger holes, just to make them black. There we go. Get that glue out of there. It kind of shot out a bit. Okay, and then you can see here we have a spot for the ball. And we want to just get that centered so that there's a little bit of white all the way around, just to make it look nice. Get that nice and centered. There we go. Okay, and this can go on flat. You'll notice there are two markers here, okay? And those markers are going to go right in the corners here where the two pins, or the pin, the edge or the corner of this pin right here, okay? And that one as well. So go ahead and apply your glue. And we have a few little star embellishments that we're going to add as well. But let's make sure we get this line. Pardon my head here for 1 second. There we go. Press that down. That looks awesome. Very colorful. Okay, good deal. Okay, all right, as I mentioned, there's gonna be a total of 4 little yellow stars. We have, I think the largest one, there's 2 kind of large ones. One of them is gonna go here, like that. And then the other large one's gonna go here. And we have 2 small ones there. You can kind of see they're part of the blue little explosion. And I think you see these kinds of stars in some of the signage in various bowling alleys. So it's kind of an ode to that. Just a little dot there. Pop that right in place. There we go. And then 2 little guys, one here and one there. Okay. Just line that up. There we go. We got one more to go. Okay. There we go. Okay, so that is going to be the front of the card, and you can see with the little band how beautiful the front of that's going to be. So we can put that off to the side, and let's take a look at the inside of the card before we work on the mechanism. Okay, we've got the left side of the lane, right side of the lane. This is the main structure. We'll deal with that in just a second. So here we have these 2 pieces. We've got a black backing. Okay, these are the same size, and it's going to make up these little markers here. So what we want to do is apply glue to this whole thing. Okay, just try to avoid those little holes there. And match this up, just match up the 2 rectangles accurately as you can. The slits should just naturally avoid themselves, avoid each other. Okay, because that is where the little mechanism is going to go, through that. Keep that nice and flat, like that. That looks beautiful. Okay, then we have our little gutters. You notice there are two little score marks at the top, and then what we're going to do is just glue this like this. Okay, so go ahead and take this, get some glue all the way down, and line that up with the top. And just make sure that it goes nice and straight all the way down. I did ink these as well, just a little bit of a dark brown. Okay, and each side obviously is going to have some gutters, and that really gives it a nice bold look on the sides. Okay, keep it to this side, nice and flush with the edge. Use your fingers to kind of feel for that edge. Make sure it's also flush at the top, and press that down. Okay, let's take a look. That looks great. Beautiful. Okay, let's do the same thing with the other side. Let's get our glue on our wood pattern here. So I actually am obsessed with bowling. I never really talk about it because it's kind of random to talk about that while we're putting flowers together, but I remember doing it a few times as a kid, but it was in grade school. We had the Drug Abuse Resistance Education Program, or DARE. I'm sure many of you are familiar with it. And one of the things that we did towards the end of the program was a lock-in where they took all the kids and locked them in a bowling alley and an arcade overnight. And I was kind of nerdy. I was kind of friends with the cool kids, but me and my nerdy friends, we just bowled all night, and by like 5 a.m., I was getting turkeys left and right. I was bowling like a beast. And I think I've just been kind of obsessed with bowling ever since. And for a long time, I kind of bowled not so well. Then eventually, I started to give the ball a hook, and started getting really good. I still have a very unconventional throw, and my ball's not heavy enough. I've been bowling with the same ball since high school, and I found out recently it's only 12 pounds. Actually, no, it's not. It's 10 pounds. I'm just going and cleaning this up because I had a couple little areas that just weren't sitting right. Anyway, but even with that 10-pound ball, I was invited to some major, pretty impressive leagues. And actually, one of the leagues that I'm on is at the same place where we had the lock-in when I was in like 7th grade. So everything went full circle. And I think one of my best games was probably, I want to say, in the 230s. And I probably average about, I haven't been going as much lately since Peyton was born, but probably, if I had to guess, probably average about a 170, 160-ish, something like that. So yeah, you might, if you're ever in St. Charles, Illinois, it's my home bowling alley, St. Charles Bowl. You'll see me there, probably on lane 11, 12, or 13, bowling with my family. And I had to pull this up, and my glue was already dry. It's a little off center. I'm gonna fix that. There we go. Everything can be fixed. All right, so flip this over and get this glued down onto the right side of our lane. Just like that. again, making sure that it's nice and flush with the outside, top and bottom. There we go. Okay, I think that looks good. All right, so we have that. Now what we're gonna do, I'm actually gonna start putting this into place. All right, so you'll notice here on the bottom, we do have a marker there and a marker there. This marker is going to apply to this. We want that nice and centered. As you can see, if we do that right, the slit ends up in the right spot. Okay, so that's what we need to do. Let's go ahead and apply our glue to this whole piece. And we get that in place. It's going to be kind of a, it's going to be a little bit of a thicker card. Okay, that's okay though. All right, don't forget, use that marker. And I love the wood on the white. It's very classy looking. Okay, drop that in. Make sure that everything looks good as far as the little border all the way around. Yeah, that dark brown on the white, this just looks really cool. Okay, press that down. Okay, we're gonna do the same thing on the other side. Let's get our glue going. I'm gonna use that little marker on the bottom right-hand corner to help us with our placement. And then you know what I'm gonna do is I'm actually gonna put this underneath my mat. And actually there's a marker on the top right as well. So use both of them. And of course, check the little slit there to make sure that our pop-up mechanism will eventually work as well. Okay, that looks great. Okay, let me close this up. And I'm going to put this underneath my mat and let it dry flat. Okay. All right, so time to assemble our little pop-up mechanism here. I'm going to start off with the pink layer here, okay? And let's take that, and we have this orange layer. We're going to apply glue to this entire thing here. Go easy on the glue here. It's a pretty delicate little piece, so we don't need a ton of glue. What's interesting is okay, so this is actually going to be flush all the way towards the center and around certain parts, not all of them, but you can see how that lines up just like that. There we go. Okay, do your best to get that on there as accurately as possible. And I'm just going to layer the same colors on each side as we kind of build our way up as far as all of these various elements go. You know, it's funny. So in one of the last videos when we put together the football jersey, I mentioned that number 34 is the jersey that we have chosen for our Chicago Bears jersey, since we're from Chicago. Well, I am. Mike's actually the only one not from the area. He's out in California. But Diana and I are both in the Chicago area. But anyway, so Walter Payton is number 34. And it just so happens that his son, he's a news anchor on our local, I think he's on Fox, but Jared Payton actually bowls at the same bowling alley, and he owns a couple restaurants in the area, so it's pretty interesting that he would pick this area to live in. And speaking of celebrity stuff that happens out here, Jenny McCarthy and what's that guy's name? Her husband is brothers with Mark Wahlberg. They opened up a Wahlburgers in St. Charles because they actually live out here. Okay, so I'm going to start putting down these blue pieces here. This little blue piece that I'm not even sure what it looks like is going to go right down here in this little area. It's going to kind of fit like a little puzzle. So just pop that right into place, like so. And I'm just going to work my way up. I have a little star. You can see one of the points of the star right there. That's going to go right here. Just match that up with the shadow element, the shadow section. Okay. Next, we're going to take this blue piece and put this down next. Okay. This is actually going to go right here. I'm going to match that up. Pardon my head here for 1 second. Sorry, it's kind of obnoxiously big. Okay, and then while I'm here, I'm just going to put this white pin down, just so I don't forget. Not that I would, but I'm just going to match that up right on top of the blue. There we go. Okay. All right, moving along here. Now that we have that in place, let's see. I'm going to have one half of the ball. And it's going to go together like this. You just want to match up that little reflective part. And there's going to be a little bit of that dark blue showing up here and at the bottom. So go ahead and get that glued together. Just match up this little reflective part. And it should be flush on the inside, just like that. I got that done by the skin of my teeth here. Okay, and that's going to go right here, like so. And then let's take a look at, and actually, we need to put these pins down first. So I'm glad I checked that out. These pins are going to go down next, like so. Now, because this is really thin here, this thing kind of has a mind of its own. So what I would do is focus on getting the part with the ball and this pin glued down, and then we'll paint a little bit of glue on that other pin once we get this one in place. Okay, so line that up. If you want, now we tried to make this as thin as possible. We didn't want to make it overly bulky, so we tried to minimize the amount of layers. And traditionally, the little stripes on the pins are red. They don't have to be. I've seen them other colors. If you want to color that in, you can. I'm not going to stress out over it. I think it's fine. And like I said, traditionally, they are red. I painted a little bit of glue on the scrap piece of paper. I'm going to paint it on this thin little area here on the top of the pin. And I'll press that down by hand very gently, like so. Okay, there we go. And then let's get our ball in place here. We're just going to match that up like that. Obviously, since this is a pop-up that comes up from the center, it's split in half, but it's still cool. Okay, so let's get our glue on this half of the ball. The little reflective part is at the bottom. There we go. Line that up. Make sure it's flush in the center, or flush with the middle. Press that down, and there we go. Okay, so that half is done, I think. Let me make sure. You know what? We're missing a star here. Just have to put that star in place. Just match that up with the shadow, like so. Okay, and that's that. And then what we can do is we can actually take this and glue this onto this structure, and you can see how it matches up like that. So we can literally flip this around And we're going to put glue on the entire surface and just match that up with the actual mechanism. And mechanism is a very complex word for a design that's just literally folded in half. But yeah, there's some math involved in this to make it work right. Don't even ask me how. That's not my job. I just work here. I'm just kidding. Okay, press that into place. That looks good. Okay, very colorful. Like I said, very, almost got like a, I don't want to say 80s, but you know what I'm saying. Okay, so next here, this little guy, let's just start off with the pins. You're gonna have to get those down first anyway. I'm gonna start off with this one and throw a little bit of glue on him. And that's gonna go right there, like so. Beautiful. And we'll grab these two. And this little guy, that's gonna go there. I'm just trying to make sure I'm not missing anything. Nope, I'm good. And you know, this one has that little part of the head that's also sort of very delicate, so we'll paint that one on instead of trying to do this all in one shot and then destroying something. I'd rather not do that. I'll just take my time and do things in increments, do things incrementally. Okay, there we go. Get that lined up with the center. There we go. Okay, grab yourself a scrap piece of paper, throw a little glue on that very end, and just paint it under this top part. There we go. Chuck that, and just line that up. Perfect. Okay, cool. All right, so starting from the center, moving out that way, we have a large white star that's going to go right there. Throw a little dot of glue on that. And press that into place. Moving along here, we've got this little blue little thingy. It's going to go above the next pin right here. There we go. Fantastic. All right, blue star right next to that little blue guy. A little extra glue there. Okay, there we go. And let's see here, now moving along over here, we've got two more little pieces, and then we just have to put the ball together. This little guy is going to go right here, match that up. There we go, and a white star for that. There we go. Just like that. Okay. All right, so same thing on this one. I'm going to flip this over and apply our glue to this entire element. Okay. And just match that up. Just find a point and focus on it. And then just kind of work your way around, making sure everything's lined up. And it is split in the center, and that's okay. Oh, I forgot to put the ball on there, but that's okay. All right, let's get the ball glued into place, or get that glued together. So that's going to go on here, flush here on the inside, okay, and you want a little bit of that blue on all the way around. So a little bit of a blue border all the way around the perimeter. Okay. Match that up. Make sure it's flush. There we go. Okay. And just match that one up with the other half. And press that into place. There we go. Now, what I'd suggest doing, again, I didn't want to include one more piece for the, what's it called there? For the finger holes. So just grab yourself a little marker, just color that in. It's black. Okay, so just colored that in, and what we're gonna do now is we're gonna grab from underneath my mat here, we're gonna grab this little guy. You want these tabs facing towards you, and it's gonna come out like this. So all we need to do is slide these little tabs in through the slits, like so. Okay, and don't need to do anything yet. Just push them up against, you want them facing down. If you're looking at the card like this, you can see what we need to do is kind of loosen this up a little bit. Okay, just make sure that we'll hold it and open it up. Okay, so let's do this. We're going to take and just leave this like that. Take and apply some glue. So this little strip here, I'm gonna thin that out so it doesn't bleed back in. And just fold that over, pull it out and fold it down. Press and hold down. Just like that. Okay, so now got that part in place. I'll put the other little piece in there. And now let that just kind of naturally close. And then we'll put glue on this tab. I'm going to thin that out and press that down on this side. And we do need to loosen up the little tabs here just a little bit. Okay. And when you open it up, bam, it opens up beautifully. Okay, so just kind of open and close it a few times, loosen up those fibers in the paper, but there you have it. Okay, there's your pop-up mechanism. Now, if you want to make this an invitation, obviously, we've given you plenty of room here. You could do a little circular cutout, a little rectangular cutout, whatever you want to do, or you can even just kind of, personally, I would leave it alone. I wouldn't want to blemish it because it looks really cool. I would just put a little note card in there with all the details, okay? So now, since we have these on here, all that's left to do is hide these tabs. Okay, now this one, this front, is going to take up the entire surface of the front of the card like this. It's going to hide all of that, okay? So all we need to do here is apply our glue to this entire back. And we're just going to pop it right onto the front of the card, making sure that everything's flush, top, bottom, left, and right. That's going to hide that little tab that we just created. What I'm going to do here is actually hold it like this and just use my fingers to feel and ensure that it is nice and flush with these three sides. The spine of the card will just naturally kind of fall into place. And yeah, it's a little bulky, so might need to open it up and just kind of push down from the inside a little bit so we don't tear it up too much. It's okay. And work your way around the perimeter, make sure everything's sitting nice and flush. And it is. It looks fantastic. Look at that. Okay, and then on the back, if your tab's sticking up a little bit like mine is, just grab a scrap, throw a little glue on it, paint it right under there and press it down. Not a big deal. Okay, and then our back is going to go on like this. We have little markers to help you with the centering, but obviously you want just an even border all the way around. So just throw some glue on this. And get that nice and centered on the back of the card. Hide that tab. Really know the way to do it, folks. Okay, let me open this up and I'll push from the inside. It's a lot easier that way. I love these bowling lanes, they're so pretty. Okay, that closes nicely. The back is in place beautifully. And again, we have our little band to keep it nice and closed for us. And that should fit in there perfectly. And it does, of course. Why wouldn't it? Let me bring that up a little bit more. Oops. I got stuck on one of those little guys there. There we go. Okay, so there's that. And then last but not least, we have a little envelope to go with it. And that's this guy here. What we're going to do with this piece is I'm going to put this here so that we have that little bit of that orangey orange showing through. So let's go ahead and put a little bit of glue around all of these little elements so we know where. And we'll put, actually, let me see here. You know what? Actually, we can just put glue on this whole thing. I don't know what I was thinking. Okay, then take this, nudge it up to the score mark. Make sure it's centered. Just bring that down and press. Like that. There we go. While you're doing that, go ahead and throw a little bit of glue on this little bonus star. That's going to go in the center of this large one. Just like that. Okay, and then we'll take these two flaps, bring them in, put a little glue right there. This is a killer card. Any bowler you give this to is going to love it. Okay, and then close it up. Press that down. Just like that. Okay, and there's your beautiful envelope. And I shouldn't do this, but I'm gonna do it because I do it every time. Fits beautifully. It's ready to go. All right, so that is gonna do it for our bowling or pop-up bowling card. You can see they're gonna take the band off and be like, oh wow, that's really pretty. And then boom, strike. Super cool. Let me show you how that looks from your angle. Boom, awesome card, love it. So that's gonna do it, guys. Hope you enjoyed the video. If you did, please visit us on our YouTube channel and hit that subscribe button. While you're there, hit the little bell so you get notifications anytime we release a new project, whether it be paid or free. And if you make this or anything from our new bundle, I'd love to see it, and so would the rest of our community. So head over to your Facebook, do a search for Dreaming Tree Official. That's where you'll find myself and over 45,000 other dreamers that inspire us daily. So hope you had a blast, and as always, look forward to crafting with you again. Hey, thanks for crafting along with me. I hope you enjoyed this video. If you did, check out some of our other videos and please consider hitting that subscribe button. Also, don't forget to visit our site and check out our free SVG section where you'll find over 140 free SVG files complete with assembly tutorials. I'll see you in the craft room.